What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 207, and the semifinals are about to commence. The quarterfinals have finished, and with me via phone for the second week in a row here, our commissioner wants to react to what we just saw here in the quarterfinals. With me, of course, our commissioner, Ben Nisman. Benny, how you feeling, my friend?
Joe, I'm feeling so many different emotions. Thank you so much for the introduction, the opportunity to discuss with you the madness that we witnessed in the quarterfinal in 2025. It was amazing. And there are reasons I wish that these matchups weren't going to happen for my own benefit, but I couldn't ask for a better show looking from the outside. This was what was supposed to happen, and it was just amazing.
Absolutely. We got a tie for the first time in about 5 years in the league. So we got a tie in the quarterfinals. The tiebreaker was, in fact, regular season record. Henry Collins gets that and does move on into the semifinals against Josh Haber. I get a 13-6 victory over Jimmy. So I get to move on, and I get retribution for the 2022 semifinal defeat that he gave to me en route to his championship. So I get the retribution there, and we get to see, oh, look, hello, opponent this week, Benjamin.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty intense, man. I'd like to start by just congratulating Jimmy and Cody for an amazing season. They showed us so much, and it was incredible. They went on amazing runs, huge blowouts when it was necessary through the schedule. They deserve to be here, and you could argue they deserve to be in the next round or champions of the league with what they presented this year. They really did. But this was what was supposed to happen, Joe. But good for them. I think that was really impressive. They proved themselves. They made their statements.
No doubt. No doubt. And over the entire season, we saw these guys go on pretty big runs here. Jimmy, especially toward the end of the season, only losing twice after week 14. He beat me 13-5, took a loss to Adam 10-9, and then tie, win, rattled off like 5 or 6 in a row, and skidded into the playoffs with a 10-9 loss to Bobby. It was quite a season for Jimmy. What did you see this year from this guy?
Yeah, like you said, it was that run at the end. It just like big wins, just like monstrous wins. Mm-hmm. And the epitome of knowing what stats to go for. Everyone thought that week against Mike Haber when he benched out, on Thursday, mm-hmm. right? It was just so crazy and wild. He knew exactly what he was doing. And I continue to say, I don't blame you for that decision. Call it a week, just get the stats you think it's possible to get and move on to the next week. And he did that amazingly. No one would have done it, but it was the right decision. He put himself in the perfect position to go as far as he could. And look at the score now. Sure, it looks a little lopsided, mm-hmm. but 10-10 going in, all that needed to happen was just one bad Sunday from you, Joe, which was extremely rare this year. We'll get into it, but that's not what happened. Everything just flew in one direction only. And yeah, it's a bummer. And I hope Jimmy's not too upset. He says he owns the green jacket. There are only so few of us that have it. That was that 2022 magic, and mm-hmm. He did it. He did it, man. So just to get back here, just to respond to a poor year last year, which was mainly, I think, rattled by injuries. Just Acuna, number 1 overall pick in 2024, and sure. He didn't have it. So that was a big part of it. It was going to be hard to come back from that, but he came back from it this year, so I give him a lot of credit. Cody the same, just to respond after making the playoffs in 2024. He comes back this year, even though he only got to the quarterfinals. He didn't advance. He had a chance here. Mm-hmm. This was an amazing matchup. I mean, this was incredible. I as far as what could have happened on this Sunday and throughout this whole matchup, the benchings, I know that's something you guys are going to get into and how fascinating it was, but this was historic. Potentially the greatest quarterfinal matchup of all time.
It's going to go down in the record books most certainly. I already inscripted it last night when we saw that it was going to be a 10-10 tie. It is the only 10-10 tie in history in the playoffs. We've had 11-11. We've had 9-9. Here's our first 10-10. It goes in favor of Henry to the tiebreaker, which is really interesting because Cody had himself one hell of a season as well. And when you look at his schedule, he lost only once after he only lost twice after week 8. And one of those losses is a 13-8 loss to Henry, which is the difference this season.
Yeah, right. It was like, did he win like 10 of his last 12 besides the final week against me? I think it was something like either 10 out of 12 or 9 out of 11. It was something along those lines.
Yeah.
But that is just an insane streak, and that it was just apparent that he was going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, incredible show. I wanted to lead with you, Joe, because it is a big story here as far as what you've done now. 9 straight to the semifinal, and 15th semifinal. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, 15th semifinal.
Wow.
All time. So that in itself, it's just come on. 15 semifinals. We've only been doing this 21 years. So
yeah.
You only missed it in the very beginning. I mean, 7, 8, 9, you missed it. But then 10, 11, and 12, that's a 3 in a row right there. And then 14 and 15, you made it to. There's that to your winning streak. And then missed it in 16, even though you went to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So going all the way now, 9 in a row. I don't know how that's going to get broken, man. And as far as it being it would be your 5th in a row without advancing if you can't get it this year. It's going to be tough as I look at this matchup against me, man. We can talk more about that as we go through it, but I say right there, it's just already you'd think 4 in a row without advancing. You think you're kind of due to get one, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm due to get into the finals at some point after losing the last 2 seasons to Josh Haber and watching him go to the finals in back-to-back years. And here he sits just a game away from going back to the finals in defense of his championship. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
As for me, look, I think I'm due to make a final. I've been pretty consistent in the last 9 seasons of making the semifinals. Death, taxes, Joe Schubert to the semifinals. I think that's kind of the saying these days. I'm super excited to be there. I'm super excited to have this squad be the group that got me here this year. I didn't think I'd be here. I really didn't. Mookie's having a really down year. Freddie's having kind of an interesting year. Acuna's not really himself. The offense isn't what I thought it was going to be, but it's still gotten me this far. So proof of concept over the last few years of like drafting the same team is working.
Yeah, I would say it works, man. And there's the drawbacks and the fears of obviously a team already clinches and they don't need to work as hard, or they're not playing the players as much, or just the team being cold, you know, and you're depending on them being hot for that amount of time. That's always been like the drawback, but it's always been a solid strategy, and it's something you've gone to now 4 straight years. So may this be the one, man, that it hits. I love the fact that there's a chance of you going to the final against Josh, being a guy that if he gets there, it's his 3rd final in a row, which would be incredible. No one has done that. So
That is already a tip of the cap to Josh Haber and his season so far this year. It's been absolutely incredible to see him run this back and get all the way to the semis as the top seed in defense of a championship. I think we've sort of understated this as a story going into the Final Four, but I think it's a good time to hit on that at this point.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. This is going to be a special Final Four. It's definitely a motley crew of different types of players that are still left in the free agent pool.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about it?
I think it's a very interesting Final Four. It's 3 former champions, and one of them being the defending champion. And then there's the dark horse that we've been talking about for the last, I don't know, feels like 6 weeks or so, as the guy who could totally crash the party. And here we are, it's Henry Collins. He's 2 wins away from a championship.
Yeah, how did that just happen? Especially with the trades along the way, the ups and downs of the season through the schedule. It all just kind of clicked at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
It felt, and you don't see it that often, where just all of a sudden this is the team that you're right. It's exactly the dark horse, and it just happened, man. I can't explain fantasy baseball, like how something like that can happen, but it just did. And it's at this point, if this is the end of the run, if this is the end of the story, this is historical.
Mm-hmm.
This is just an incredible showing of resilience and resourcefulness, finding a way to just see what's out there, see what can be used. I loved listening to him on the podcast with you guys last week because he seemed like, firstly, there was obviously a renewed confidence that I hadn't seen in other years, but just also he was assured that I think I know how this team programs, and he also knows how to make the adjustments now. I saw Correa benching, and he hit a home run. And I thought, well, you know what? With Cody having Yordan Alvarez, like, I would be playing Correa all the time. Like, man, that was a miss. But he had a different plan, man. And he went with something else. And even though there's been those, like, Jason Dominguez 2 bombs on the bench, or Grisham or whomever it is, he's gotten the stats from somebody else and figure out a way to close the gap. Just find a way to close the gap on any stat. And if he ties that stat or he wins this stat, like, it's just another one. And yeah, he ends up winning it this playoff by 3. Okay, it's by 3. It's not a significant amount, right? Like, he needed to get every little bit basically, and now he just showed what he could do. That this playoff matchup was beyond extraordinary. And I said going into the weekend that you have Joe beating Jimmy and you have Cody beating Henry going into the weekend. Mm-hmm. There is a good chance, a very good chance, that at least one of these changes. And it did, man. And it was just magic, dude. There's no other way to put it but just to say that this was magic. And if the run goes further, it's miraculous.
Mm-hmm.
But Henry did not need to win this matchup. And I said this last week. Like, he's done it. He's in the playoffs 3 years in a row. Like, everything else is just pudding, And he did it. He figured out a way to just grind it out, man. And with, like, a Sunday benching of Triolio on Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Jared Triolo.
That's a walk and a run. And you're like, God, he needed that walk. God, he could have used that run like so badly. Oh my God, how is he going to find a way? And strikeouts are close, but he needs to pull back on losses. And the way he just grinded through that Sunday, man, was just incredible. So awesome. Such an impressive win. It's just going to be another show that they're going to put on. Josh versus Henry for the final. Anyone would have asked for that kind of. I mean, I, as a spectator, love to see that. I can't wait.
Henry on the season for his schedule, he kind of had an interesting run here toward the playoffs. If we started at week 16 against Jimmy, it was a tie there, a win over Frank the week before, 12-8. So he only lost once in that run up until the playoffs. But that loss, interestingly enough, is a 12-7 to me. And that would be the tiebreaker if he and I were to meet in the finals, which would be incredibly interesting, spinning this forward. Let's talk about the fact that a 1 or a 2 seed usually finds their way into the finals.
Yeah, that's true. The last time, besides obviously 2020, if a team has a bye, that team goes to the finals over 90% of the time. You look at, I believe, 2010 potentially was one year.
The first time it happened was 2008. We had Jay Ferraro versus Robert Fox. And then the next time we saw it happen was 2010, Alex Eng and Matthew Brain.
And unbelievably, the two people speaking in this conversation were the 1 and 2 seed that year.
Yeah, we were.
But there you go. So 2010, that's 2 years so far.
And the last and most recent time, aside from 2020 when it happened, was the 5 and the 3 seed in 2018. And this guy was the 3 seed and took down the championship.
So 3 out of 20 so far. So we'll see if it happens this year. I got to tell you, man, I love your chances. And if I have to make a prediction, if I was putting out betting lines here.
Well, we talked about it in the past, man. You are pretty good at predicting these things. You did predict the first 2 matchups correctly.
Yeah. So far, so good.
What do you got between you and me?
Well, here's what I got, man. Firstly, you are in such an advantageous position here, having the Braves against the Nationals for 4 games, including a doubleheader on Tuesday. That's going to be a really tough thing for me to come back from. The pitching staff is just such a question mark for me. I got to face the Dodgers with the Phillies, so that's going to be tough as well. I mean, just really unfavorable matchups for me. It's going to be hard for me to respond to a lot of firepower, but it's fantasy baseball. What I will never ever say this team has no chance of winning. I will never ever say that, but I have it at -3.5 for you. I'd say that's the spread. I'd say maybe just 3 even, either 3 or 3.5. But I got you at about 11.8. That's how I see it. Man, on the other side,
the juggernaut Josh Haber and the underdog Henry Collins. What do you got?
Well, firstly, I don't even know who has the tiebreaker there.
It's a good question. It's a very good question, and I think that's important to put out there. Between you and I, who has the tiebreaker? I think you do this year.
I have the tiebreaker against you, yes.
Yeah. As for Josh and Henry, Josh holds the tiebreaker due to a Week 13 11-8 victory.
Henry has it?
Josh has it.
Oh, Josh has it. Okay. All right, I got Josh minus 1.5.
Okay.
11-9. That's how I see it.
All right. And then you got me and Josh in the finals for a championship. Josh trying to go back to back, and me trying to stop him. Because there are only 2 members of the back-to-back club. I don't know if anybody knows that.
What's that?
There's only 2 members of the back-to-back club, and Josh is trying to make it 3.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, Mike Haber went for it in 2013. He got to the final. He won it on a tiebreaker in 2012 against me, and then at 13 went to the final and lost in the final. Yep. So, yeah, there's been those that got close-ish. I got to the semifinal in 22 after 21, but yeah, this is a rare club, rare territory. If he gets to the final, though, no one's gone to 3 finals in a row.
No.
And I'm pretty positive. So that would just be, I mean, that's like LeBron James territory, you know?
Yeah. The closest we've had to that is my run from 2017 to 2020, where I missed the finals in 2019, losing out to you.
Yeah.
So championship, semifinal loss, championship in that four season stretch. That's the closest we've seen to 3 straight finals.
Yep, that is. Also, do you know how many playoff appearances this makes for you?
16?
Yes. 16 out of 21 to the playoffs. So,
I didn't know it was 16. It was 15 of 16 to the semis, though. I had no idea.
15. Yes, dude. It's very consistently to the semis. 15 out of 16 times. The only time was in 2016.
Yeah.
It's like, now it just sound like we're highlighting, like promoting the Royal Rumble when they start talking about the numbers.
Everything by the numbers. Well, this was my 19th playoff matchup win overall in the history of the Bigs. Yeah, and I'm 19-10. The next closest person is you with 13 wins in the playoffs.
13?
13-8.
Right. And I got you looking to go to your 7th final in 21 years. If you can get through this, that's 7 out of 21. A third of the time the Bigs has existed, you're in the final.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in awe of the fact that this team did it, because this is not as good as I thought they were going to be. You know, this Dodgers-Braves machine is not clicking the way it was supposed to, but it's still going this far, so here we are.
Yeah, no, so it's worked.
Yeah,
and it's
proof of concept.
Yeah, the question is, like, do you think that a big part of the success that you had throughout the season was the magic that you had on Sundays for the most part?
It seems like it.
Yeah, we got into it off air as far as how consistent Joe was on Sunday to just at least hold serve or go up and flip a few categories. Unbelievable show. The fact that, okay, week 1, you're competing against Costas. It's a 0. And then on from there, a 0 in week 2, a 0 in week 3, a +6 in week 4, 2 flips, 2 unties, and then a -3. That was, dude, in general, we're just going to see pluses throughout this. A +3 on Ari, then a -2 against Chris, but then a +1, a 0.5 miss on Bobby, a 0 on Lebo, a -1 against Josh in week 11. In week 12, then you go +4.5, +2 on Frank, 10-9 became 12-9. Jimmy was a -3. That was a random one. Cody was a 0. Costas, you go +1. -0.5 against Adam, and then +3.5 against Henry. That was the 11-9 going in, or 11-8 going in, but it became 12-7 or something coming out.
Yeah.
18 when you hit 21 home runs.
Yeah.
+1 against Sherman in week 19, then a +2 against Jason, a 0 with Ari. And then we didn't know how we would go with the Chris Levy final one because the inning minimum, if it's a -1.5 against Chris Levy in week 22, if we don't count the inning, otherwise it's a 2.5. And then finally against Jimmy here on Sunday, +3.5 stats. So it would be 18 going in before the before including the Chris Levy matchup. We're at +18. So if we
just
go,
on Sundays, it's +18.
Sundays, we're just that's a net +18 stats on Sunday. Now, if you take away the Chris Levy week, then it's 18. But when we were including that week, if he makes the minimum, it's 16.5. Mm-hmm. It's still an amazing number.
Yeah.
If it's with missing the minimum, as it happened, we're talking about 20.5 stats made on Sunday. Whether it's 16.5 total or 20.5 total, it's still an insane amount. It's about the most consistent I've ever seen a team compete on Sundays, as far as just like, okay, even if it's like a -1. What was the worst one I saw in there? Like -3? Like that happened once. Yeah, week 5, -3. And that was against Jason, I believe.
And I still won that 11-8.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. So yeah, if you get into it, even some of the times, like, there was a one against Mike Haber, right? That was what was that?
Week 12.
Week 12, -4.5. That was the worst one, but still,
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm pulling up that Sunday right now because I want to see exactly what happened here. Because we have the research for it, but I just want to see what we did on that particular Sunday. I hit 229, 270. Runs, 9 RBI, walk, 8 strikeouts. Didn't pitch that particularly well. 6 1/3 to a 7.11. He stats to be said, but pitched his ass off. A 2.51 and a 1.12 across 28 2/3 innings.
Yeah, that Sunday run. I mean, you'd think one of those guys blows up, right?
Yeah, you would hope so. At least that's what I was hoping for, I'd imagine.
Yep. No, they all pitched deep into the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it goes. But didn't matter. You're in this spot, man.
Yeah, dude.
Your 15th semifinal, going for your 7th final. That's quite a feat. I hope you don't feel like you beat the game yet. Like,
no.
You're still learning. There's still things that. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If you were getting to the final every year, it seems like you've cracked the code. Maybe still there's potential to always improve. Maybe the league still needs to get better. Maybe we need to go to 9 ads. Maybe we need to go to 45 innings. Who knows? But I think you've been the model of consistency, for lack of a better term.
I thank you, my friend, very much for those kind words. And I would be remiss if we didn't talk about your season as well, sir, and how well you've done in your quest for your 4th championship here. You've had yourself one hell of a season, man, and give you the opportunity here to talk about how you're feeling coming into this semifinal here.
I feel like regardless of how it goes down, there's been nirvana that's occurred, like, for sure, because I thought that at some point last year you know, if I just made it in for like another year in a row, like that would be awesome. But I'm due to miss one, and it happened, right? There's a lot of pressure that I put on myself just to get in this year, to be 6 out of 16, and it's such a random thing. Like it's so unlikely. So like if you're just, you know, you miss a day here or there, or you just like sloppy one week, you know what I mean? There's just so many reasons why that one little slip, and the guys in our league that it's heartbreaking for them now because they're a just miss. They'll go back in their minds. They'll be like, "Oh, this happened on week X," you know, and I could just, you know, I mean, just that whole, you know, going back and processing that for me is such an existential nightmare. So to look back and say, you know what, I made so many good decisions that I got to have such a productive week, chilling last week. It was so relaxing and necessary for me. And at this point, I'm so relieved. There was so many different things that were going wrong with the season. Harper being injured, Tovar being injured, deciding to wait on Manaya, and then him just being awful and basically costing me stats, being a net negative by playing him, losing closers, Hader going down, Iglesias being demoted, then promoted, and then you just don't know, and then oh God, just the fact that Evaldi went down at the time that he did, me not sure if I'm gonna, you know, be able to like sustain having a good enough innings at this point to get the bye. Then just trying to find my way to the bye was stressful. Like the whole thing was so intense that having the week off, I feel like I made it up for myself by not getting in last year. Even though it was an over 500 season, I should be happy about that. I was in first place at one point in 2024. So there were good signs. I think I'm making good decisions. I think I'm a good enough player that every season there's a chance that I can compete, regardless of the outfield was a mess. And then all of a sudden this year it became Nimmo, Adele, and Buxton, which is combined for, you know, nearly 85 home runs or more. So I knew going in with like the Winker and Marte as the combo that it was probably not going to be the case. And fortunately, it worked itself out. And it's kind of how it happens with fantasy baseball, because we have 10 ads, because we have a good flow of guys going in and out, because everyone has to pick up relievers. There's a chance to get a gem in free agency. And, you know, even Vientos, that's another guy that I was just like, okay, I caught him at the right time, the hot streak. You know what I mean? So there were all these little things that had, I mean, Santana's batting 212 or whatever, you know what I mean? The fact that the bye happened with me basically playing him every single time, you know, he was clearly a net negative, but, you know, just kept on trotting him out there. Harper and Santana, that's the combo at first utility, not going to stray away. Lisa Rise, like getting a concussion, like being like in a stretcher, you know, out like it was only a week, but Rise didn't have a 300 batting average this year. He's around 280. He was fine with the strikeouts and did what he was supposed to here in the same kind of production. So you remember weeks where I hit 167 or 196 in a row, you know? I look at my my team right now, and it's funny because, like, I don't know if you've ever done this. You've had the bye before, but have you ever, like, just kind of looked at what your team is still doing day to day? I know Frank does.
Oh, yeah. I've absolutely done it.
Yeah, I feel like we all kind of do that. But, all right. So for this week, on the week off, we'll start with a Powerhouse on Monday. This is September 8th, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. It actually was 1 for 45, 1 for 22. That's an 0.45 hot. Tuesday, a little bit better. 7 for 26, a 269 average, and a 296 on base. So didn't even have over 300 on base percentage. Wednesday, 4 for 25 with 2 bombs, 4 RBIs. That's a 160 average and a 323 on base. We'll go to Thursday. Only 18 at bats, by the way.
Okay.
Could have been theoretically 22 at bats, but what's on paper here is 7 for 18, a 389. But that would have been a good thing. I would have had Friday, 5 for 28. That's a 179 average, a 233 on base, 1 dinger, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. That's Friday, September 12th. The 13th, it's a 258 average, 324 on base, 8 for 31. And then finally, Sunday, got to cap it off strong, right? 4 for 33 with a 121 and a 147. Pretty consistent as far as being consistently bad. This was a good week to have off. It's fair to say it would have been hard to compete if I stuck with the group, for that week. But it doesn't matter, man. It's where you're at this moment. And at this moment, there are 12 guys that would have liked to be playing right now. There are only 4 left. I'm in that top 25%. I'm grateful to be there. I figured it out with a way to compete with gritty guys, being patient. Guys like Yariel Rodriguez is an SP. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy that, okay, just because he has that eligibility, that doesn't mean that I should hang on to him. Like, he's just a basic reliever, but he was so consistently good that it was like, okay, you're more than just the SP eligibility. You're actually solid. I should hang on to you, and I did. A guy like Armstrong, same thing. This guy's basically become the new closer for the Rangers. He's closed like 5 out of their last 6 games that they've had a save opportunity. So, just being patient with things like that. Ryan Walker, that's another guy that I was just like, okay, but if Doval gets traded, like, this guy did get opportunities. So I think things like that, I don't think that I would have had the patience in the past. So I think, like, I have learned this year. And I think in the bigs, like, you should always be learning. So, yeah. Funny thing is now a guy that I traded for, Nolan Arenado, I have him back on my team now. Like, I was willing to cut it. I was just like, you know what? There's too many IL spots. He's not that good right now. Like, what am I waiting for at this point? Like, there's 6 weeks left or whatever. It's time to cut ties. It's time to move on. Like, you got to go and get something else. And then that's where, like, Vientos happened. Like, it's funny how one event triggers another thing to happen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because this happened, therefore, I made this decision, and it ended up being success or disaster. Like, that happens as well. But it's been a fun year. There's certain aspects of it that frustrated the hell out of me. I think it's been a tough year. But 2 things can be right at the same time. It was tough, but it was fun. And and at the end of the day, when I look at everything that happened, like, this has been a beautiful story. Like, this has been just an incredible show up until this point. With all the storylines, like you said, Josh, he wins the thing and he comes back in first place to close the year. Him going into his 3rd final. Henry and the miracle run that he's on, sneaking in 5 back and then jumping ahead 3 on the final week. Frank kicking down the door of Brian Lebo, trying to get into the playoffs, not able to find it. Mike Haber, potentially the most consistent playoff performer that we have. As far as getting into the playoffs, this is playoff competition. competition, he's actually been under 500. But as far as getting into the playoffs, Mike Haber has been the staple of getting to the playoffs since he's been in 2008. So you have that, him not being able to just somehow, he lost to Ari twice during the year.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, you look at that, like, wow, how many times could you ever think that could happen? Only in the bigs. Like, Mike Haber loses to Ari twice, and it does end up being the difference, you know? How about the fact that, you know, I was throwing up, you know, up until the draft, like 10 or 15 minutes, but I'm still playing, you know, and I was a half a stat away from first place going in and changing my destiny and who I'm playing against this week. The fact that you're going for your seventh final now, you know, and the fact that you were able to close down on a schedule that we thought was okay. You get to play Ari and Chris Levy twice, including in week 21 and week 22. Like, let's see you put it down, you know, and you did. And then you had to face a tough guy in the first round.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy and you having to have the rematch, like, no matter who you were facing, like, it was going to be a tough matchup. Like, you were going to have to grind it out, and it worked out, you know. And here you are again now, your ninth straight semifinal, and you got me, you know, living alongside you, literally alongside you for this week. Another crazy storyline, and I'm sure the final would be, you know, something special, regardless of who those two guys are. Like, you have a great end to this story. So, this season has really had its hurdles, for sure. And I always hope that the following one is always going to be better than the next one, and I'm confident that it will be. But I'm still very, very happy, and I'm grateful that the league put in the amount of passion that they did, because I wanted to congratulate them too. They were amazing, and they showed themselves, and they all made statements in some way or another. And everyone had a win, you know, everyone had their moment, and the league was incredibly, incredibly special this year. So I'm just very, very happy that it all worked out.
We've got 2 weeks left, man, and I just want to wish you luck before games get started in about an hour here on Monday. So, best of luck to you, my friend. I hope to take you down and vindicate the last 2 times we have faced off in the playoffs.
Yeah, I have a little bit of an advantage. I believe we're at what are we, 4-2? I'm 4-2 against you.
Yeah.
06. I think it's 4-2 in the playoffs. So that's slightly in my favor, but a lot of those things are deep in our history, right? Only 15 and 17 for you, and then 19 and 21. Just, and we're talking about in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we're split the last 10 years. Here's the rubber match of the DS series, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Good luck to you, man. You earned this, and it's a scary looking group, and you played your ass off, and stayed up late nights, and lost a lot of sleep to battle it out. Mm-hmm. So bravo to you. You earned it, and good luck going forward.
Thanks, man, and good luck to Henry and to Josh as they buckle down for their semifinal matchup. I don't know who I'm going to play in the finals when I'm done with Ben, but we will see.
Yeah. You know, one thing I did want to make sure I bring up before I forget it is I have still been mulling along different things that we need to work on for next year. Obviously, a new system with the trades would really, really benefit us. I think there's obviously a little bit of a hill to climb there that we got to figure it out, but I think we will. I have heard back. There are certain guys that are for this, and there's certain guys that say, no, I like that I'm doing it, that I'm making that choice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's been both sides of it, and obviously, with whichever decision we make, we got to figure out all the logistics. But
right,
it is something that is very, very important to me, as well as knowing the cutoff on who can trade with who, as far as who's out of it by how many weeks left. Like these two things, I really, really want to set in stone for next year. They're very, very important to me. I think they would really, really help our league a lot more. So as far as like we compete, believe me, I'm thinking about all the storylines of the competition, how special it's been for me. Obviously this matchup is so important, but believe me, man, I'm always thinking about the league and how we can make this league better and stronger and more legitimate as we go forward, because it's 21 years now, but let's hope there's another 40 years after this and more. So I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of you, dude. You are the soul of the Bigs, and you've kept it really, really strong. So thank you to you especially. You've been amazing, putting so much hard work for the league, and your care and your love into it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Guys, thank you all for watching and listening. Without you, we don't have a league, and without you, I have no show. So we would love to have you back next year, checking out each and every single show that we do. We've done over 200 of these, man. It's amazing that we've come this far.
Yeah, 100%, Joe. You never expect something when you started to get to this point, but somehow we got here. And it feels like what's amazing is that it's felt this way for now almost 10 years, where it's just been this like, wow, this is like a community, this is a group, everyone feels like this is like a real legit video game, whereas there's actual competition, there's nothing is for certain, nothing is for guaranteed, but you can get better. It is something that you can get better. You're always learning, you're always making mistakes, you're always hopefully learning from them. And now 21 years, almost 21 years in the books, with a trophy and a podcast, and it's just so special, and it's really something that you could almost say is unrealistic, as far as I can't imagine that there are other fantasy leagues. So there might be, but they're for money. Ours isn't. Like, that's the big difference. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not a chance that, like, maybe I just start betting on Joe's players this week, because it'll just make me feel better to make money if I lose this matchup. But for as far as this league goes, this league is for no money at all. And what makes it special is not only the trophy, but your own personal pride that like you did it. Like, you were number 1 out of 16 that year, and that's pretty hard to do. And it's not like you're playing a robot. You're playing real people. You can't control what they're doing, and there's still that special chance of just even being top 6 out of 16 is something that's special, and you can be proud of just that. And that's cool. Like, okay, if you don't beat the game, your first year, your second year, okay, but you're making progress. Like, you're able to hit checkpoints, and I think getting into the playoffs, top 6 out of 16, it's a checkpoint. It's that marker to be like, wow, okay, I got there. Like, I've been able to get over that hump. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then, okay, now Henry has done that 3 years in a row, which is just, no one's ever freaking done it. Okay, and I don't want to count Henry out of this matchup, by the way, just because I'm picking Josh. No way. I will say that, like, firstly, it's not a fluke to get in 3 years in a row now. Like, no one's ever done that in their first 3 years. Maybe no one ever does it ever again, Joe. No one might ever do that. But he's done it, and then there was like this stepping stone that just happened this week. It just happened, and the miracle happened. So many incredible things that we've seen, and no doubt there's just going to be so many more memories in in the next couple of weeks. Thank you so much to the league, and thank you, Joe, for sharing all these incredible memories that now 21 years through, we're bound to have incredible shows throughout the time that we're going to be in existence, which, again, I just don't think there's any league like this at all.
No, I don't think there's anything like this at all. Guys, you are a part of something special, and we appreciate you being here. Until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.